The night I wore Tolu's lipstick, something inside me broke free, and now I wake up in beds I don't remember crawling into. I should have known the moment I touched that lipstick. Not because it smelled strange, not because it shimmered like it had its own heartbeat, but because Tolu had warned me, "Don't touch my things without asking," she said flatly. But she smiled when she said it, and that's what made me ignore the warning. That Friday evening, we were both dressing up for Sade's birthday dinner at La Mango in Ikeja. I had just finished my makeup but forgot my lipstick at home. I was already in her apartment and she was in the shower. I opened her makeup purse casually, and there it was. A beautiful gold tube engraved with tiny black markings I couldn't make out. It didn't have a brand name, no MAC, no Fenty, no Zarin, nothing, just gold. I twisted it open and paused. The lipstick shimmered, not like glitter, but like it was wet, almost breathing. A rich, blood-red tone with a strange violet glow. I don't know what made me do it. Maybe it was the way it pulled my eyes in. Maybe it was the way I'd been feeling lately, invisible, like no one ever noticed me unless I screamed. I applied it, just one swipe. The moment it touched my lips, I felt a shock run through my body, like someone had dropped a cold coin into my belly button. "Amaka!" Tolu's voice echoed from the bathroom. I quickly snapped the tube shut and dropped it back in the purse. "Yes," I called, pretending nothing happened. I looked at myself in her mirror and froze. I looked different. My eyes looked deeper, my cheeks warmer, my lips full, glowing, alive. When we got to the dinner party, something strange happened. The moment I walked into the restaurant, every man turned to look at me. Not Tolu, me. I sat beside Sade and felt the stares burning through me. Even the waiter poured my wine with shaking hands. Then came him. His name was Bode, tall, dark-skinned, about 35. Fine. The kind of man who smelled like he bathed in expensive guilt. He wasn't even invited to the dinner. He was at a table across the room. But he walked up to me like we had a secret agreement. "Hi," he said. "You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen." Tolu choked on her Chapman. I smiled. I don't know why. I couldn't even stop myself. We danced. We drank. The music swirled. And before I knew it, we were in his hotel room. I remember flashes, his hands, his lips, my voice. I remember saying no at some point, and then saying yes louder. The next morning, I woke up naked, confused, disgusted, but craving more. The gold lipstick was in my clutch. I was sure I left it in Tolu's makeup purse. It was then I noticed my reflection in the mirror again. My eyes were darker, my lips fuller. My smile was not mine. Something had entered me. Something had begun. The morning after Bode happened, I rushed out of his hotel suite like I was running from a crime scene. My hair was a mess. My blouse was inside out. My lips, still stained in that deep red shade, refused to fade, no matter how hard I rubbed them with tissue in the Uber. When I got home, I threw the lipstick across the room like it had bitten me. It bounced off the wall and landed under my bed. I collapsed on my mattress, breathing heavily. It was just a mistake, I whispered to myself. I'd never been that kind of girl. I wasn't a saint, but I wasn't the type to follow a man from a restaurant to a hotel in under 3 hours. That wasn't me. It couldn't be. I switched off my phone, turned off the lights, and buried myself under my blanket, like a child hiding from the boogeyman. But something inside me tingled, something shameful, something dark and curious. 2 days later, I was at the bus stop heading to my small fashion internship in Yaba. My mind was blank. I was trying to move on, pretend the weekend didn't happen, Then a keka stopped in front of me. 3 people inside, 1 spot left. I got in, and then I smelled it. The exact same scent from Bode's hotel room, cedar wood and sin. I turned my head. A man in a native brown caftan sat beside me, clean-shaven, rich cologne, a slight smile dancing on his lips. He looked me up and down. "Fine girl," he said. I gave a fake laugh. "Thanks." But something inside me shifted again. That heat, that slow, pulsing warmth in my stomach. My thighs tingled. My palms got sweaty. Before I could process anything, the words came out of me like they weren't mine. "Where are you going?" I asked him. He smiled. "Palm Grove. You?" "I can stop anywhere," I said. 10 minutes later, I followed him into a service department off the main road. We didn't talk, we didn't flirt. It was like our bodies knew each other already. We had sex, no names, no introductions, just heat. Afterwards, I sat on the bed shaking. "Who are you?" I asked him. He smiled. "You came to me, don't you remember?" "No," I said. He reached into his pocket and handed me something wrapped in a napkin. I opened it. The lipstick. My breath caught in my throat. "Where did you get this?" He stood up, naked. "You gave it to me. The last time." "What last time?" I snapped. He just laughed, that low, mocking laugh. "They always forget," he said. "That's the trick." I ran out of that apartment barefoot, my heels in hand. I cried all the way home. When I reached my room, I swore I would throw that thing into the gutter. But when I opened my bag, I found not 1 but 3 gold tubes, all glowing faintly. And my lips were red again. I didn't go to work the next day. I sat on my bedroom floor, surrounded by the 3 gold lipstick tubes, each identical, each pulsing with a subtle heat. My windows were shut, my curtains drawn. I hadn't eaten. I couldn't think. I picked up one of the lipsticks and held it under the light. It shimmered like wet blood. I ran to my bathroom mirror. My face looked the same, but my lips, they weren't just red, they were glowing, like they were alive. I scrubbed them with soap, then with a sponge. Then I poured bleach on a cloth and rubbed until they burned. Nothing worked. My lips stayed red. But that wasn't the worst part. That night, I heard whispers. Not outside, inside me. Soft, seductive voices like women underwater, calling my name gently. "Amaka, you're starving them. Feed them. Touch him. Taste him." I buried my head in a pillow and screamed. I couldn't take it. I thought I was going mad. The next morning, I did something desperate. I went to Tolu's house. She opened the door in her usual sassy way, chewing gum and wearing her oversized silk robe like she was Queen of Lecky Phase 1. Babe, you didn't even call me. What's up?" I didn't wait for permission. I barged in and went straight to her dresser. Her makeup purse, the gold lipstick. Another one sat there like a trophy. "Tolu," I said, trembling. "What's in this thing?" She laughed, tossing her bra on the chair. "Lipstick, what else?" "No, Tolu, something is wrong. Since I used it, I haven't been normal." She raised an eyebrow. "Define normal." I broke down. I told her about Bode, the kicky man, the glow, the voices, the urge. I expected her to laugh, or shout, or at least pretend to be shocked. Instead, she just sighed. "So you used it more than once," she said quietly. "What?" She walked over and closed the door slowly. Her face turned serious. "You're not supposed to use it more than once. I didn't even give you permission the first time." "Permission?" I barked. "Tolu, what the hell is this? Is it jazz?" She didn't answer. I stormed out. The cravings grew worse. I began texting old boyfriends I hadn't spoken to in years. Neighbors, even the shy boy that sold bread outside my compound. It wasn't even about love or attraction. It was like I was possessed by hunger, not in my stomach, but between my legs, in my soul. The next day, I saw myself in the mirror smiling again, but I wasn't smiling. That night, I slept with two men, back to back. I cried afterwards, but the lipstick, the red on my lips looked deeper now, like blood freshly spilled. I called Tolu again. This time she picked and said just one sentence. You need to see Prophetess Ireti before it's too late. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? After Tolu mentioned Prophetess Ireti, something inside me froze. Tolu was the most unbothered, party-hard babe in all of Lekki. She drank, smoked, went clubbing, and laughed at people who still listened to church sermons. If someone like her was advising me to go see a white garment prophetess, then whatever I was dealing with wasn't just strange, it was spiritual. But I didn't go see Prophetess Ireti immediately. Instead, I made up my mind to go back to Tolu's apartment, not to ask questions, to find answers. That evening, I waited till I knew she'd be out. Tolu always went for her Zumba classes on Thursdays around 6:30 p.m. I took a bike to her place, praying the security man wouldn't question me. Luckily, he waved me in. I had been there many times before. He didn't suspect anything. I used the spare key Tolu had hidden behind the fake flower pot by her door, same place we all used to stash small things in uni. The apartment smelled like lavender and Chanel, calm, deceptive. I headed straight to her bedroom, but this time I didn't stop at the vanity table. I opened her closet. Shoes, bags, fine clothes, nothing strange. Then I noticed something, a slim panel at the back, almost like a hidden door. I ran my hand across it. There was a tiny latch. Click. The panel slid open with a low creak. Behind it, a small hidden room, dimly lit, no windows. The air smelled burnt, like charred flesh and perfume. I stepped in, heart pounding. The first thing I saw was an altar, an actual altar. At the center was a black stone bowl filled with melted wax, ashes, and what looked like crushed lipstick tubes. Around it were framed photos of men, dozens of them. Some I recognized. Bode, the man from the Keke, my cousin's friend Tega. My breath caught. Each photo had a red X drawn across the chest. There were also pieces of jewelry, used condoms tied in black nylon, and lipstick stains on folded white cloths like rituals had been performed. A tattered book lay open on the floor. I bent to read it. It looked handwritten, in a language I didn't fully understand, but I made out two clear words in English on the final page. Siren Bond. Suddenly I heard the door slam behind me. Tolu stood there. Her eyes were different, colder. You shouldn't have come here, she said softly. My mouth dried. What? What is this? She exhaled and stepped inside, calmly like she wasn't caught red-handed. This is where I feed them, she said. The lipstick is the offering. You didn't just wear it, Amaka. You activated it. You took from their altar. Who are they? I screamed. Tolu, what have you done to me? Tolu stepped closer. Her voice trembled. I was lonely. I was fading. No man looked at me twice. I went to Elagushi Beach one night, drunk, crying. That's where I met Mama Ori. She gave me this gift in exchange for something. What did you give her? I asked, whispering now. Tolu's eyes glistened. My womb, she said, and every woman who uses the lipstick shares in the covenant. I staggered backward. You cursed me. I shared it, she said softly, because I was tired of carrying the hunger alone. I ran. I didn't even wait to hear more. I ran down the stairs barefoot, chest burning, ears ringing. The lipstick wasn't just cursed. It was alive. And now, it was inside me. I was shaking as I boarded a bus to Egbeda that night. My hair was wild, my face pale. I couldn't go home. My compound gossip queen would smell the madness on me. I needed safety, calm, sanity. I thought of only one place, Uncle Maxwell's house. He wasn't my blood uncle, but he'd been a close friend of my late father's. A soft-spoken, wise man. He always said I reminded him of his younger sister, and growing up, he protected me from boys and all my nonsense relationships. He was a safe space. Or so I thought. "Amaka," he said when he opened the door. "What happened to you?" I burst into tears before I could speak. "I don't know what's wrong with me, Uncle. I feel like I'm going mad." He hugged me, let me inside. The house smelled of old books, eucalyptus oil, and grounded ginger. It was calming, familiar. I finally felt like I could breathe. He gave me water, sat me on the couch. "What's going on?" he asked, voice warm. I told him everything. Not everything, but enough. About the lipstick, the strange cravings, the shame, the pain, the way men looked at me now like I was meat left out in the sun. He listened, silent, patient, like always. Then he said something strange. "You're not cursed, Amaka. You're awakened." I blinked. "What do you mean?" He stood up and walked to his bookshelf, brought down an old leather-bound book and placed it in front of me. The title read, "The Water Bride, Tales of Marine Possession in Yoruba Tradition." He flipped to a page and pointed to a line. "Some women are marked through beauty tools, combs, earrings, waist beads, or lipstick. Once they use it, they become vessels. Their bodies feed spirits, their wombs trap destinies." I froze. "Uncle, how do you know all this?" He didn't answer. Instead, he stared at me long, deep, like he was seeing into me. "Come, let me pray for you." I hesitated but nodded. He led me into his bedroom, asked me to kneel, placed his hands on my head, whispered in tongues softly. Then he touched my shoulders, then lower. His hands trembled. "Uncle," I began, pulling away. But I didn't stop him, because the urge returned. That same one, burning like a fever. My lips tingled, my thighs quivered. I looked into his eyes and saw hunger, not his. Mine. I kissed him. He didn't resist. We ended up on his bed, tangled in sheets. A man twice my age. A man who once wiped my tears during wake season. A man I had called uncle for 16 years. Afterwards, I lay there in a pool of regret and confusion. The room was too quiet. He sat up, eyes wide. What? What just happened?" I couldn't speak. Then he pointed at my thighs. There were red markings, symbols I'd never seen, fresh, almost glowing. He stood up, panicking. "Amaka, you need help. This is bigger than me." He reached for his phone, but I was already halfway out the door, dressing as I ran. I didn't even wear my slippers. I ran until I couldn't feel my legs. I woke up on my bed, but I didn't remember how I got there. The black glow on my lips hadn't faded. It was darker, heavier, like a stain that had soaked deep into my flesh. My thighs still burned from the markings, and the voices, the whispers were louder now. "Feed us, Amaka. Let us drink through you. You belong to the deep." I curled up in a ball, clutching my head, screaming for them to stop, but the voices only laughed. I remembered what Tolu said. "You need to see Prophetess Ireti before it's too late." I didn't care who Prophetess Ireti was. I just knew if I didn't go, I might end up dead. or worse. It took me 2 hours to find the church. A small white garment church tucked behind a busy mechanic village in Ikoton. The building was old, with peeling blue paint and a rusted tin roof. But the moment I stepped inside, I felt something shift. The air was heavy, thick with the smell of burning incense and palm oil. Women in flowing white gowns were praying with bell rattles in their hands. A man was beating a talking drum softly. At the front stood a short, round woman with piercing eyes, Prophetess Ireti. The moment she saw me, she screamed. She didn't wait for me to speak. She rushed forward, flung a bucket of cold water at me, and shouted, "Who sent you here, you daughter of the water?" I froze, drenched, my heart in my throat. I don't understand," I stammered. She pointed at me, her voice shaking with fear. "You wear the mark of the siren. You carry the hunger of 100 lovers, and they are feeding on your glory." I dropped to my knees, sobbing. "Please, Mama, help me. I didn't know. I didn't ask for this." She pulled me into the prayer circle. The women surrounded me, chanting in Yoruba and Egun. My body began to shake violently, as though something inside me was fighting them. "Hold her down," Prophetess Ireti barked. 3 women grabbed my arms and legs. I felt something move in my stomach, like a serpent. Then I screamed. In that moment, images flashed before my eyes. Dozens of men, faces I didn't know, their mouths wide open, screaming, their shadows trapped inside my body like prisoners. I saw Tolu kneeling at an altar, handing over her womb in exchange for wealth. I saw Mama Ori, a tall, beautiful, terrifying mermaid-like woman with black eyes and long fingers, smiling at me from the ocean floor. Then I saw myself naked, standing at the edge of a blood-red sea. "You can't run, Amaka," Mama Ori whispered. "You are mine now." I woke up on the dusty floor of the church. Prophetess Ireti was sweating. She looked drained. "This is not ordinary," she said softly. "The lipstick is a covenant item. It binds you to the marine world through sexual altars. Every man you sleep with feeds them and drains you." I was trembling. How? How do I break it? She hesitated. "You must undergo a 7-day cleansing in the forest," she said. "No food, no water, just prayer and fire. But be warned, the spirits will come for you, and if you break the fast, they will kill you." I wanted to argue, to scream, to tell her I wasn't strong enough. But deep down, I knew I didn't have a choice. Because that night, I dreamed of Mama Ori again. And this time she was standing over my bed, holding the gold lipstick in her hands. That night I looked in the mirror again. The reflection smiled first, and my lips were no longer red. They were black. I only had 2 days to prepare for the 7-day forest cleansing. Prophetess Ireti told me to wear nothing but white. No jewelry, no perfumes, no makeup. I was to carry nothing but a Bible and a bottle of anointing oil. But I had unfinished business. Tolu. She had started all this. And I wasn't going into the wilderness with half-truths in my pocket. I found her exactly where I knew she'd be, at her usual spa in Lekki, wrapped in a towel, sipping a strawberry smoothie like she wasn't housing demons in her makeup bag. When she saw me, she didn't flinch. She just blinked and said, "You look tired." "I've seen Prophetess Ireti," I said. Her smile vanished. She set down the smoothie. "She told you about the pact?" "She told me enough," I said. "Now tell me everything." Tolu stood up, walked toward the full-length mirror in the spa lobby, and stared at herself. "Have you ever felt invisible, Amaka? Like men only see you when they're desperate? Like your worth is measured by how quickly you say yes?" I said nothing. She continued, her voice softer now. I was 23 when I first went to Elagushi Beach. I was heartbroken, broke, and humiliated. The guy I was dating left me for a woman 10 years older just because she was richer. I was tired. I wanted power, attention, respect. And you met her? I asked. She nodded. Mama Ori. She came out of the water, beautiful. Her hair looked like black silk, her eyes sharp like fish bones. She asked me what I wanted. I said I wanted men to want me. All of them, always. My mouth was dry. And what did she ask for in return? Tolu laughed bitterly. Everything. My womb, my peace, my ability to love one man forever. In exchange, I'd become a vessel every man I slept with would have his destiny tapped. I'd glow, I'd succeed, I'd be irresistible. I wanted to scream, but I let her finish. She gave me the lipstick, Tolu said it was a gateway to attract vessels men with potential. But the spirits got greedy. They said I needed to share the weight. They were feeding too fast. I was dying inside. So you let me use it, I whispered, trembling. You let me become their next vessel. Tolu's eyes filled with tears. I didn't want to, I swear. But the night you touched it, it was like they claimed you. I tried to stop it, but you already wore it. The spirits began feeding on you immediately. I stepped back from her. You ruined me. I shared it with you, she said, her voice breaking, because I couldn't carry the curse alone anymore. We stood in silence. Then she reached into her purse and pulled out a tiny bottle filled with dark blue oil. Take this, she said. It's from the altar. Use it on your feet the night before the cleansing. It will slow them down. Why help me now? I asked, bitter. Tolu looked at me for a long time and said, because I'm dying, Amaka. Slowly, they're done with me. I'm no longer useful, but you're fresh blood. If you don't fight back now, in 7 months, you'll end up like me, rich, beautiful, and completely hollow. That night, I held the bottle in one hand and a rosary in the other. And I made a vow. If I came back alive from this journey, I would burn every lipstick in this city, starting with Tolu's. The morning after meeting Tolu, I woke up with bruises on my thighs and scratches on my back, deep ones, like I had been dragged across thorns in my sleep. My bedsheets were torn. The room reeked of something foul like rotten perfume and salt water. I checked the time, 7:46 a.m. I was late. I hadn't even been to the office all week, and my boss, Madame Folake, had already sent 3 warning messages. My job at the fashion brand in Yaba was the only thing keeping me anchored to normal life. I dressed in a hurry, wrapped a scarf around my head, and wore dark glasses to hide the black circles forming under my eyes. My lips were pale now, dry. The lipstick had disappeared for now. But the whispers hadn't. When I got to the office, people stared. No one said anything, but I could feel the judgment crawling over my skin like ants. My desk was untouched, but my files were gone. Madame Folake called me into her glass office without raising her head from the laptop. Sit. I sat. My palms were sweating. She finally looked up, and what I saw on her face wasn't anger. It was disgust. We saw the footage, Amaka. My heart dropped. What footage? She turned her laptop toward me and pressed play. It was a hotel security video. Me and Bodhi entering the building. Laughing, drunk, kissing in the elevator. She paused it inside. He's one of our investors. I froze. What? I don't care what you do with your body, Amaka, she continued. But when you start sleeping with men linked to the company, in broad daylight and getting caught on camera, it becomes my business. It wasn't like that, I whispered, shaking. It was, I don't even remember. You're fired. Just like that. The last piece of my normal life gone. I left the office shaking, blind with tears, walking aimlessly through Yaba Market. People brushed past me, shouting about tomatoes and Ankara wrappers, but their faces blurred into a fog. Then I saw him, one of the men I had slept with, the man from the Keki. He was standing across the road, talking to someone, and then he dropped to the ground. He began to convulse. People screamed. A crowd gathered. Someone shouted for water. Another yelled, "Epilepsy!" I stood frozen on the other side, my heart racing. Then he looked up. Our eyes locked, and I swear on my mother's grave, his eyes turned completely black. "You took from me!" he screamed, pointing at me. "You fed them! You!" I ran. That night back home, I fell into a fever. My whole body trembled. My belly burned like something was trying to claw its way out. I lay on the floor, shivering, whispering Psalm 91 through cracked lips. Then I looked at the mirror beside my wardrobe. My reflection was no longer mimicking me. It stood still, smiling, even though I was crying. Then it whispered with my voice, "Don't go to the forest, Amaka. You belong to us now." I screamed. And just before I passed out, I saw a flash of red gold on my bedside drawer. The lipstick was back, waiting. I woke up screaming, not because of pain, but because of the drums. Yes, there were drums echoing in my room. Deep, hollow sounds like talking toms, the kind played in masquerade festivals. But this wasn't any ordinary festival. It was inside my head, inside my veins. I sat up, panting, sweating, trembling. And there it was again. The lipstick, lying innocently on my pillow. It was no longer red. It had turned black, black with gold veins. I picked it up with shaky hands. The moment my fingers wrapped around it, the drums stopped. A cold breeze swept through my room, yet the windows were shut. Then my phone beeped. Texts from men, over 40 of them. "Last night was fire. You're something else. Can we do it again? Where are you? I need you." Some names I didn't recognize. Others, I was sure I had never even seen them before. What was happening to me? I was done. Done with the lust, done with the uncontrollable urges. Done with being a slave to a lipstick that had turned my body into an altar of disgrace. I went back to Prophetess Ireti. She sat on a raffia mat, blindfolded, rocking back and forth. Before I even opened my mouth, she said, "You should have come 3 days ago. Now the spirit is hungry." I fell to my knees, sobbing. "Please, help me. I don't know what's happening to me. I can't stop. I can't stop sleeping with men, even strangers. It's like my body is not my own." She raised her head slowly and took off her blindfold. Her eyes were white, not blind, but full of fire. "It is not you. It is the covenant. The lipstick is a seal, not makeup. It belongs to Izinwani Udini, the river goddess of seduction and destruction. You did not borrow a lipstick, Amaka. You borrowed an altar." I was trembling. "We have to return you to dry ground. 7 days, no food, no water, no men, no mirrors. You must die to your flesh before your spirit can be reborn." Day 1. We entered the forest. No phone, no torch, just a white wrapper tied across my chest and another around my waist. We settled in a small clearing. She poured consecrated water in a circle around us and lit 7 candles. "This forest has eyes. If you survive the next 7 days, you will return a new woman. But if you fail, the lipstick will consume what's left of your soul." Day 3, I began to hallucinate. I saw myself dancing naked in front of strange men, my body moving like I had no control. I screamed and rolled on the forest floor, scratching my skin. Prophetess Ireti slapped me with her staff. Fight back, do not feed it. It wants to remind you of the pleasure, so you abandon the pain. Day 5. That was when the serpent came. Large, black, with gold scales. It slithered into the circle, stood erect like a staff and hissed at Ireti. She chanted. The candles flickered wildly. My ears rang. Then I saw someone step out from behind the trees. Tolu. But she was naked, barefoot, eyes glowing strangely. Amaka, she said in a hoarse whisper. Don't do this. Don't let her take away the gift. The goddess gave you power. You're special. I backed away. Tolu, what are you doing here? She stepped closer. I've tasted you. I've seen what you carry. You don't need cleansing. You need to embrace it. Stay with me. We can serve her together. She fell to her knees. Please, don't break the covenant. Then she screamed. Her back arched unnaturally like something was moving beneath his skin. Prophetess Ireti rose with a roar and struck the serpent with her staff. The battle is not flesh and blood. Reject her. I collapsed. A bright light filled the circle. I heard wailing, hissing, drums, water splashing, and a voice. You are lucky, Amaka, very lucky. But I will still find you. Then silence. I woke up on the 7th day, lying on Prophetess Ireti's lap. Weak, pale, but free. She looked at me with tired eyes. It is now over. The hold is broken. Go home and never wear another woman's altar. I cried. I had survived the cleansing. I survived. Barely. After 7 days of dry fasting in the forest with Prophetess Ireti, I came face to face with death, not just physical death, but spiritual, the kind that devours you from the inside out. My body broke, my voice disappeared, my mind nearly slipped. But I held on. Somehow, I held on. On the 7th night, I watched the lipstick, that cursed golden tube, burn in a fire the prophetess made with cedarwood, frankincense, and a mysterious red powder I was never told the name of. The flame turned green when the lipstick melted. It sizzled and screamed. Yes, screamed, like a dying spirit being forced out of its home. And Prophetess Ireti placed both hands on my head and said, Your mouth has been returned to you, but not without a price. When I finally saw myself in the river the next morning, I understood. My lips were no longer the soft pink they once were. A faint black line ran along the edges like a seal, permanent, painful, and divine. A reminder. I had a new mouth now, and with it, a new life. Where in the world are you listening to my story from? Please like, subscribe, and share.